hashtag for your school. Learn more at collegefootballfanindex.com. Thus far, USC is leading this week. Guys, which school would you vote for?
But how's Ohio State not in the top 5, see?
Well, they got a weird way that they rank them and everything. We only been playing football since 1890.
And LeBron's a celebrity fan. You're a celebrity fan. See Tristan Thompson back there?
I was going for Ohio State.
Jenna's a pseudo-celebrity fan.
Well, I can understand USC. USC with all the celebrities being in Hollywood.
McConaughey.
But
that's Texas.
LA. That's Texas Longhorns. But LA, all these celebrities live there and everything. And they're not really smart. They can't get into UCLA. So they got to go over to USC. All right? They can't get in. They can't get in over at UCLA. So USC is way up there. They've always had a lot of stuff. And Snoop didn't graduate from there, but just by... He had a relationship with a professor, and they gave him an honorary degree.
And Dre's got a building named after him there. So USC, I get it. They do have the Hollywood aspect. Okay, that's fair.
Yes.
Yeah. Once again, Jenna's upset Binghamton's not on the list.
Just a little bit upset. Not mortified, just a little bit upset. Don't laugh while you take your coffee sip. Hey, we're going to get to Big Ben in just a second, but first, some great high school highlights. Georgia high school football, Augusta Prep's Bailey Adams coming down with an amazing catch.
Oh! Go ahead, see.
It reminds me of the Saints interception, Lattimore last year that he got against Atlanta, where the ball was landed on his back.
I was thinking the famous Brett Favre play on Monday Night Football, where Antonio Freeman, he falls down on the sideline, the defender falls down.
Yeah, you have no clue what you're doing, do you?
What do you mean?
That was against my Vikings, doofus.
Yeah, well, sorry. You didn't play DB. Doofus.
Yeah, I held that L, though.
Yeah, you did.
When mutual doofuses are going on, I like to let this one play out. Lower Cape May Regional High School. This one here in New Jersey, Patrick Moore has his kick blocked. Doesn't matter, breaks a ton of tackles and gets in the end zone. Now watch it again.
That's brutal for the defense. You block the kick, and you end up giving up the touchdown. Oh.
Man, shout out to kickers, man. We don't think are football players. This kicker's a football player.
Yeah, he might play a little defense, too. High school football, go both ways.
All right, finally, Ocean Springs High School, Mississippi, Isaac Gowdy catches the interception off of a teammate's foot. See that?
I didn't know Tim Tebow left the Mets farm system and was playing high school again, number 15. That's Tim Tebow. He throw that thing just like him, too. That thing might go anywhere.
He sure does. That's a hell of a play right there.
All right, moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. An uncharacteristic start for Ben Roethlisberger in Week 1, turning the ball over 5 times in a tie with the Cleveland Browns. Bit of a head-scratcher since Ben talked about feeling as strong as ever coming into camp. We remember that. We learned yesterday he's dealing with an elbow injury, one that might limit him in practice this week. Needless to say, Roethlisberger wasn't thrilled with the way Week 1 played out.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you don't win a football game, it feels like a loss. So it was, yesterday was tough. Sunday coming home, and then yesterday was tough. And you didn't lose, but you also didn't win. So it definitely hurts. The biggest thing that you take away from that game is the turnovers. We turned the ball over 6 times, which is crazy to even think you have a chance to be in a game, in an NFL football game with 6 turnovers. So there's such a negative in that sense, but there's also a positive that we were still in the game. And I told our defense after the game, thanks to you guys for keeping us in it, and special teams for helping us not lose it.
All right, CC, it doesn't get any easier now as the Steelers get ready to host the Chiefs this weekend. What does Ben Roethlisberger and this offense need to do to go ahead and get that first win?
Well, let me tell you what the defenders said under their breath after Ben left. You wouldn't have thrown them 5 picks. You're talking about we had 6 turnovers. Well, you had 5 of them.
Right.
What about taking some responsibility? Like, for me, with the team, if we won or lost, it was secondary. It was how did I play? Because how I played is going to determine if we could win or lose. I can't control the game and the outcome of the game. The ball's going to bounce a certain way, and I can't control my teammates. This is the ultimate teammate. The one thing I can control is myself. And the one thing I start looking at after the game is myself. And the plays that I could have made to build change the complexion of the game. Now, I know Ben's won a couple Super Bowls, but obviously he doesn't look at it that way. What do the Pittsburgh Steelers need? Well, their defense did play great. And they need a quarterback like Tyrod Taylor in this game. The only guy who played worse than him in week number 1 It's Peterman.
Yeah. Tyrod was 15 of 40. It gets overlooked because he had that throw to Josh Gordon at the end, but he was 15 of 40.
So what do they need to get back? They need to be able to have a quarterback play bad like that. How many times, Nick, during the rest of the season are they going to have a quarterback that they're facing play worse than that?
I see what you mean.
And when you don't win a game, when the quarterback plays that way, no, you did lose. And I'm just saying right now, after week number 1, that tie is going to come back to hurt the Pittsburgh Steelers. They always do this. Against the real good teams, they're pretty good. Against the team that they're supposed to be, they play down to the competition.
Particularly on the road.
And, well, they're inconsistent. At home, they're front running. They have the home crowd behind them. On the road, it's hard for them to generate that same enthusiasm. And that's why they've just been so consistent. Do they have great personnel? Yes, but with this great personnel, Nick, I've told you over and over, they get good individual results. But as a team, this is not one of the better collections of team. I'm talking about tight fit. Like if we were going to the AFC Championship, they have so many little holes that's why I like New England better than them when they face them. It's because it's the little things. It's not the big things.
And you can point to last year. Last year's Week 3 loss at Chicago, a bad Bears team, as the reason they were 13-3 instead of 14-2, the reason they didn't have the 1 seed, the reason they played the Jags in the divisional round instead of the Titans. A lot of butterfly effect from that moment. Now, the other thing is, so when we're talking about what do they need in this game against Kansas City, obviously they need Big Ben not to have 3 picks, 2 fumbles, 5 turnovers, disaster, right? But let's assume he's not going to do that. Now, he has done it twice in a year, but let's assume he's not going to do it again this year. What they need is, and this is interesting, but once you dig into the numbers, they need more consistent rushing attack, particularly in the second half of the game. You might say, well, hold on, James Conner had all those yards. James Conner, you can grade runs on are they successful, meaning how close do you get to a first down? Do you get a first down? James Conner's 11 first runs, 8 of them were successful. His final 20, only 3 of them graded out as successful, and he had a critical fumble. Ramon Foster, remember him talking all sideways about L. Bell? He says after the game, well, you see how Le'Veon is, quote, the best in the world, and Foster is, quote, capable, but Le'Veon is flawless. Everyone on the Steelers acknowledged that one of the reasons one of the reasons that you didn't have AB have the game you would have expected is because the Browns were able to focus on the wide receivers, that James Conner was not dictating coverage the way Le'Veon Bell would. So that's going to happen again this week. I don't think Le'Veon Bell's going to play this week.
No, he's been taken off the depth chart.
And so I would imagine that means it's going to be tighter windows for Big Ben, tougher for Big Ben, and the Chiefs' defense The Chiefs' defense got lucky against the Chargers and a lot of drop passes.
But I don't think it's fair to James Conner in a big game like that where he carried the ball the number of times he did fumble once. The Hall of Fame quarterback threw 5 picks.
In there because Ben Roethlisberger was one of the first persons to come out and say, you know what, it's almost a next man up situation. We're going to be fine with who we have.
Well, listen, what I'm saying is you look at the box score and James Conner had over 170 yards from scrimmage, and you say he was a perfect duplication of Le'Veon Bell. I think you saw the impact in the second half, and I think you saw the impact on the passing game. It's not an indictment on the player who I thought played very well. In the fumble, you're right that Big Ben had 5 turnovers. James Conner had the 1 fumble. The point that I'm making is when you go to Kansas City, they are, I would imagine, once again going to scheme their entire game plan like the Browns did about stopping AB. And that puts more of an onus on Big Ben because he's going to have smaller windows. It's going to be more difficult for them to
where
move
was
the
Juju
football.
at? Where was Juju?
Juju did not have a big game.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I just saw him on Instagram and stuff this offseason. I just wondered. I didn't know. I thought maybe he was holding
No,
something too.
they've got
I didn't know. I just thought.
No one's going to feel bad for Pittsburgh. They've got plenty of weapons, and their backup running back had a monster game. The point that I'm making is the Kansas City Chiefs defense is vulnerable, and you should be able to take advantage of it. I would imagine they are going to dictate their entire game plan around trying to take Antonio away, which you're not able to do if Le'Veon's in the game, which I don't think he will be.
All right, we're going to take a break. Coming up on the other side is Jameis Winston's job in jeopardy. That's next on First Things First.
There was a Buckeye out there on the